Welcome back to A-State Eats. I'm here with Dylan, and today tell me about what you're going to be making for us.
Today I'm just going to be making some sauteed strip loin, just seasoned with simple herbs and spices, along with some sauteed vegetables.
Awesome.
It's nothing really special, but all right, let me just start.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, just going to take about 2 tablespoons of butter.
That's a lot of butter.
Oh yeah, well, got to get through all the steak, so.
Yeah.
Then turn your butane burner on. Just let that heat up.
And what kind of steak is that again?
It's just strip loin.
Why do you use that?
Well, it ends up being a lot leaner. Like it's the same meat they use for roast beef after they smoke it and everything.
Okay.
So it just ends up being a lot leaner. And while it doesn't hold as much flavor, it's still just a good piece. It's I guess reliable because you can use it for a lot of things.
Okay.
It's flexible. Yeah, it is a lot of butter, isn't it?
So, why did you want to start cooking?
Really don't know. I mean, I just helped my mom and my grandma when I was younger, and I just learned a lot and picked up on it, and it was something that I guess I felt came naturally to me, so I just did it all the time. So I'd help my mom and my grandma cook all the time, and I just started to like it. And really, it wasn't at first what I thought I'd see myself doing in the long run, but come 11th grade year, I needed an extra class, so I elected to take Votech, and I took culinary because I already knew I was good at it. And the instructor there, Mr. Johnson, he really taught us and everything. We ended up going to skills competition, and me and Brian, wherever he is, Brian, placed in a state competition, and our entire team swept the board. And so I think that's when I guess I decided I wanted to do it.
Very.
Yeah, wow. We're just gonna be seasoning it with simple things: rosemary, garlic, some oregano, and salt and black pepper. Like just nothing too much.
So you season the steak first and then cook it?
Mm-hmm. Well, because some of this will kind of just burn on there, but it'll also just give the flavor too. And I guess it's more or less an optional thing if you want to put some on afterwards, but I never really did.
Does it help kind of enhance the flavors in the meat if you cook it?
A bit. But yeah, you're not going to be able to taste as much if you season it afterwards.
Yeah.
It'll be just a bit too much. I'll just put that in there with those. So we're going to saute that next anyways. And there we go. So how'd you guys like these?
Just however you think. You're the chef.
Yeah, but y'all are the ones eating them, so it's whatever you guys like.
What tastes the best? What do you prefer?
I would never go past medium rare.
We can do medium.
All right. Now we just play the waiting game, I guess.
Yeah. How long will it take to cook these steaks?
It depends on usually the cut of meat, how thick it is, and just what rarity you want it at. So medium rare shouldn't take us like longer than maybe 2-3 minutes on each side. So, but yeah, that. And then the vegetables I am sauteing is just gonna be some mushrooms. Nobody has any mushroom allergies, do they?
No.
Okay, so I don't want to like kill anyone.
Yeah,
That'd be okay. Squash and tomato. So
Do
nothing.
they pair well with steak, do you think?
They're both. All of those are like lighter type vegetables, so they usually do pair with steak because when you're like putting something with a side, you don't want the side to outshine the main dish.
Yeah.
So you use lighter stuff on the side as opposed to the steak that has a strong flavor. So yeah, I think they'll do good.
They look great.
Oh, thank you. We won't be seasoning the vegetables. Usually I just salt and pepper them, but it's such little flavor that it would just end up tasting salty or peppery, that I really wouldn't have any.
So there's no spices on the vegetables?
Like some you would salt and pepper, like when you go to saute, but it's just these, they're already so light that if I were to salt and pepper them, you would only taste salt and pepper and not the vegetable really.
Yeah, I've cooked mushrooms before and they tend to take on the flavor of whatever,
Yeah.
you cook with them.
Mushrooms are just a real flexible one. They're hard to like overcook. Like you really can't cook them to the point where they're mushy or anything. and so they just really pair well with things. I mean, you can generally learn to eye it, but you can also touch it for the firmness. But there's a general trick of to see how firm a steak is. So like a rare steak, you can take your pinky and fold it and touch right here, and then going up accordingly. So it's a pretty neato trick. Oop. Hey, that's good.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Come back and that's what I was just about to ask if you came
Yeah.
back.
It's just because the butter will usually help the steaks keep moist, and it will help it retain everything on the surface. So it'll really help with the flavors on that. And now you can already smell the herbs cooking. So
It smells great.
thank you.
So how long have you been here in this program?
I am actually, this has only been my second semester, so I started in the fall of last year.
Wow.
But I like the program. Chef really pushes us. Like one of those things where like you're teaching a kid to swim, so you just throw them in the pool, hope he kind of swims. It's kind of like that, because if you're willing to learn, as much as you're willing to learn, Chef is willing to give. So if you really, really want it, Chef will really, really teach you and give it. So,
What has been your most challenging recipe that you've done so far?
I suppose that would probably be the food we had to prepare at skills competition. Not that it was in any way like a hard dish. Like if I were at home or in here preparing it, it wouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
But it was just the restrictions and the time restrictions, because we could only start on certain things at certain times.
Oh wow.
So example being, we had to make a rice pilaf, which is just rice sauteed in a pan and then cooked with juices and baked. Well, we couldn't start it earlier. We had to do it within a certain time frame because they wouldn't let us cook our chicken stock till a certain time, and that's the essential part of it. So I'd say that was the most challenging, but due just to the time. And it was, but overall we had a pretty good time. Brian actually went to nationals. He'll be going again to nationals this year.
That's awesome.
And
Did y'all start the program together here? or-
yeah, we graduated at the same high school together, and we went to VOTEC for the last year together.
It's always good to have a friend.
Yeah. We're constantly pushing each other, being competitive.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty competitive, so it helps me when I have somebody to push.
Oh yeah, I think a little competitiveness can help everyone do everything a little better. Yeah, that should be about good. So y'all said medium rare. Good for y'all.
Fine.
You good with medium rare? You good? All right. Oops.
So do you let the steak rest before you cut into it, or do you?
I
go
do.
after it?
I don't. I mean, well, it just depends on how hungry I am sometimes, I guess. But yeah, usually I'll let it set. So like I'll just set it now while we are sauteing the vegetables. But yeah, generally letting it rest just gives you a better flavor most of the time.
How much butter did you put in the pan?
That'll probably be about a tablespoon and a half. So, but most of it's just gonna get soaked up by these vegetables anyways. But
The flavors from the steak will help.
yeah. Well, that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Do.
Can you tell me again what kind of vegetables we're sauteing?
So let's say we're gonna be using squash, tomatoes, and I believe shiitake mushrooms.
I've never cooked tomatoes like this before. Does it help add flavor or anything?
Depends on like what you cook it with, but tomato is just one of the vegetables that'll usually hold its flavor really well.
Okay.
and it doesn't really absorb other flavors. While squash and mushroom usually take on the flavors of what it is, but tomato just usually just sticks to its own thing. Because you don't want a layer of cooked vegetables and layer of weird raw vegetables, so that'd probably be kind of nasty.
That would be pretty bad.
Like cooking like something in the microwave and then you get a hot bowl and then a cold bowl of whatever the hell it is. Yeah, those are the things that ruin my day right there.
So, what's the key to cooking them evenly? Just keeping them stirred? Or?
Well, not keeping them stirred, just trying to keep it like an even layer. So like you don't want like a thick layer or anything like that, because then the vegetables on top aren't going to cook.
Yeah.
So you just want to try to keep them evenly spaced out, so everything cooks instead of just one layer or so. Because it's not like you're steaming them, and it's not like you're, well, at this point we're not cooking them with like oil or anything, we're just using butter. And butter just doesn't get as hot as oil will, so it won't like, in any way cook it fast enough. So but using butter usually helps it retain a lot of flavor better rather than using olive oil or canola oil.
Yeah. So are you specializing in any particular kind of area of food?
Nah, I think I just want to learn it all. Like I don't think there's any kind of ethnic food or just any kind of food area in general that I want to specifically specialize in. Like I'm not good at baking. I want to get better, but like I don't want to, specialize in baking.
Yeah.
And I don't want to specialize in just like cooking either. Like I just want to keep my options open. So.
All right. So how do you know when the vegetables are done cooking?
It's more or less an by sight thing, but just when they start crisping up, having an outer layer, like you can see that starting to turn just a bit brown. Just taking on that butter easily. The tomatoes are getting really, really soft. And the mushrooms are usually gonna, since they were pre-cut, are usually gonna stay just about like the same consistency. Like just I said earlier, mushrooms are they're really hard to overcook or get mushy.
Yeah.
So you just wanna look for just general starting to crisp at the edges and starting to soften into whatever you want.
So there's no specific time limit or like time frame?
It really depends on how much you have, how big your pan is, whether you're cooking it with oil or butter, or it's a lot of things determine it, but it's just, I guess, one of the things that you get used to as you go along in this.
So what temperature do you think you should leave the pan on? Because if you turn it on high, it might be really bad.
I would say this is on medium-high heat, because cooking on high heat will just burn it too quickly, and cooking on medium heat, you won't get any kind of crisp or absorption. It'll just more or less just kind of make it warm, I guess, but it won't really cook. Yeah, the vegetables after they get done cooking should be at least about 165, just to make sure everything's all cooked.
Vegetables are kind of more of a guessing game than meat, do you think?
Yeah, because if you put vegetables in a steamer or saute them, because they don't brown up and crisp up like how meat does, but they do start to brown. And sometimes you can't tell if that's just the sauce you got in there, or if it's just the butter browning up, or if it's the vegetable browning up. So it's just kind of a experience and by sight thing. So it is a I guess risky game trying to make good sauteed vegetable.
I'm excited to see how it turns out. It looks good.
Well, I'm starting to think these are just about done. We just got our steaks here, and those have been sitting a while, so they should be good and tender, hopefully. But strip loin is a tricky piece of meat, so.
Looks awesome.
Thank you. And do you all want sauteed vegetables?
Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead.
All right. Just making sure. Don't want to give y'all nothing y'all didn't want or anything.
Yeah. Is there any trick to plating to like make it look fancy?
Just generally just being careful is probably the most thing. Because, you know, if I take this and just in a rush sling it over there, I'm probably going to sling oil and vegetable everywhere.
Yeah.
That and keeping plenty of napkins on you, because you can use your napkins to wipe off the sides real easily. And then just overall, I guess reducing, I guess the messiness of what you're using. So, you know, a sauce is probably going to be a lot harder to keep neat than a steak or anything like that.
All right, thank you so much for cooking for us today. We really appreciate it, and come back for another episode of A State Eats.